Welcome back to Kubernetes Deep Dive. This is chapter 5, and I'm genuinely excited about this one because we're going to make your applications nearly indestructible. In chapter 4, we learned how services connect pods together and route traffic to your applications. We set up cluster IP, node port, and load balancer services. We saw how Kubernetes gives you stable networking even when pods come and go. But here's the thing: what happens when a pod is running but your application inside is actually broken? The container is up, Kubernetes thinks everything is fine, but your app is completely frozen. Users are getting errors, and Kubernetes just keeps sending traffic to a dead application. That's exactly what we're solving today. In this chapter, you'll learn how to teach Kubernetes to check if your application is actually healthy, not just running. You'll implement three types of health probes, and you'll watch Kubernetes automatically restart broken containers and redirect traffic away from overloaded ones. This is where Kubernetes transforms from a container scheduler into a truly self healing platform. And honestly, this is where it clicks for most people. Once you see Kubernetes automatically recover from failures you created on purpose, you'll understand why everyone's so excited about this technology. Let's dive in. Let me paint a picture. You deploy your application to Kubernetes. The container starts successfully. Kubernetes reports the pod is running. Everything looks green in your dashboard. But inside that container, your application has crashed into an infinite loop, or it's deadlocked waiting for a database connection that will never come, or it ran out of memory and is just frozen. The container process is still alive, so Kubernetes thinks everything is fine, but your users are experiencing timeouts and errors. You're sending traffic to an application that can't handle it. This is the fundamental problem. A running container doesn't mean a healthy application. Let me explain how Kubernetes solves this with an analogy that really clicked for me. Think of health probes like wellness checks at a gym. The liveness probe is like asking someone, "Are you conscious?" If they don't respond, you call an ambulance. In Kubernetes terms, you restart the container. Something is fundamentally broken and needs a fresh start. The readiness probe is different. It's asking, "Are you warmed up and ready to exercise?" If someone just walked in the door, they might be conscious and healthy, but they're not ready for heavy weights yet. Don't send them to the squat rack. In Kubernetes, don't send them traffic until they're ready. The startup probe is asking, "Have you finished stretching?" Some people need extra time to warm up before you start checking on them regularly. Legacy applications or apps with large caches might need a minute or two before they're ready for normal health checks. Here's where it gets interesting. Setting these wrong is like checking if someone's warmed up every half second. You'll drive them crazy and declare them unfit even when they're perfectly fine. Configuration matters as much as implementation. Let's get specific about each probe type. Liveness probes answer one question: is my application alive? If the liveness probe fails repeatedly, Kubernetes kills the container and starts a new one. This handles deadlocks, infinite loops, and situations where restarting is the only fix. Readiness probes answer a different question: is my application ready to receive traffic? If the readiness probe fails, Kubernetes removes the pod from service endpoints. Traffic stops flowing to it, but the container keeps running. This is perfect for temporary overload, database connection issues, or waiting for dependencies. Startup probes are special. They run only during container startup and disable liveness and readiness probes until they succeed. Once the startup probe passes, the other probes take over. This protects slow starting applications from being killed before they're ready. Here's the key insight: liveness restarts containers, readiness redirects traffic. They solve different problems, and you often need both. Kubernetes gives you three ways to check health. HTTP probes make a GET request to a specific endpoint. If it returns a status code between 200 and 399, the probe passes. This is the most common approach for web applications. TCP probes just try to open a connection to a specified port. If the connection succeeds, the probe passes. This works well for databases and services that don't speak HTTP. Exec probes run a command inside your container. If the command returns exit code 0, the probe passes. This is flexible but has more overhead. For most web applications, HTTP probes are your best choice. They actually test that your application logic is working, not just that a port is open. The timing settings are where most people make mistakes, so let me walk you through them. The initial delay tells Kubernetes how long to wait after the container starts before running the first probe. Set this too low, and you'll kill containers before they finish starting. Set it too high, and broken containers run longer than necessary. The period is how often Kubernetes runs the probe. Every 10 seconds is a common default. More frequent checks catch problems faster but add overhead. The failure threshold is how many consecutive failures before Kubernetes takes action. The default is 3. This prevents a single slow response from triggering a restart. There's also a success threshold mainly useful for readiness probes. How many consecutive successes before a previously failing pod is marked ready again? Think about these settings from your application's perspective. If your app takes 30 seconds to start, your initial delay should be at least 30 seconds. If your health check endpoint sometimes takes 2 seconds to respond, your timeout should be at least 3 seconds. Alright, let's get hands on. We're going to deploy an application that's intentionally broken, watch Kubernetes struggle with it, then fix it properly. First, let's create a namespace for our experiments. On screen, you can see a simple command to create a namespace called health-demo. This keeps our experiments isolated. Now let's deploy an application with no health checks at all. I've got a simple web server that has a special feature. We can tell it to become unhealthy on demand. The deployment on screen shows a basic Nginx-based application. Notice there are no probes defined. Kubernetes will start this container and assume it's healthy forever, as long as the process keeps running. Let's apply this and watch what happens. The pod comes up, shows running status, and Kubernetes is happy. But here's the problem. If this application freezes internally, Kubernetes won't know. Let's fix that. Adding a liveness probe. Now let's add a liveness probe. I'm updating our deployment with an HTTP liveness probe that checks a health endpoint. Looking at the configuration on screen, the liveness probe hits the /health endpoint on port 8080. We wait 15 seconds before the first check, then check every 5 seconds. After 3 failures, Kubernetes restarts the container. Apply this updated deployment and let's watch the pods. Now here's where it gets fun. I'm going to simulate an application hang. I'll exec into the container and create a file that tells our demo app to stop responding to health checks. Watch the pod status. After about 15 to 20 seconds, you'll see the restart count increment. Kubernetes detected that our health endpoint stopped responding and it killed the container. This is self-healing in action. Without any human intervention, Kubernetes noticed the problem and fixed it. The new container starts fresh, the health endpoint works again, and traffic can resume. Adding a readiness probe. Now let's add a readiness probe. This is where things get really interesting. I'm adding a readiness probe that checks a different endpoint /ready. This endpoint returns success only when our application is warmed up and able to handle traffic. The configuration shows both probes now. Notice the readiness probe can have different timing than the liveness probe. We check readiness more frequently because we want traffic to resume quickly once the app is ready. Let me show you the difference between these probes in action. First, let's watch what happens during a normal deployment. When the new pod starts, it's not immediately ready. The readiness probe fails for the first few seconds while the application initializes. During this time, the service doesn't send any traffic to this pod. You can see this by describing the pod. Look at the conditions section. The ready condition shows false initially, then flips to true once the readiness probe passes. Now let's simulate an overloaded application. I'll tell our app to fail readiness checks, but keep passing liveness checks. Watch carefully. The pod stays running, the restart count stays at 0, but if you check the endpoints of our service, this pod has been removed. Traffic is flowing to other healthy pods while this one recovers. This is the crucial difference. Liveness failure equals restart. Readiness failure equals remove from traffic rotation. Same pod, very different responses to different types of problems. Let's tackle one more scenario. Slow starting applications. I'm deploying a version of our app that takes 45 seconds to start. With our current liveness probe settings, Kubernetes will kill this container before it ever becomes healthy. The initial delay is only 15 seconds and will hit the failure threshold before the app finishes starting. Watch, the pod keeps restarting. Kubernetes thinks it's broken, but it just needs more time. We could increase the initial delay, but that means slower detection of actual failures after startup. The better solution is a startup probe. Adding a startup probe to our configuration, you can see we give it up to 2 minutes to succeed. We check every 10 seconds with a failure threshold of 12. That's 12 times 10, so 120 seconds total for startup. Once this startup probe passes even once, it disables itself, and the regular liveness and readiness probes take over with their faster intervals. Apply this configuration and watch. The pod takes its time starting, the startup probe keeps checking, and eventually it succeeds. From that point forward, the regular probes monitor the application with appropriate timing. Let me show you some probe configurations that will cause problems. First mistake, probes that are too aggressive. If you set your period to 1 second with a timeout of 1 second, you're asking your application to respond instantly, repeatedly, forever. Any network hiccup or garbage collection pause will trigger a restart. Second mistake, checking dependencies in your liveness probe. If your liveness probe fails when the database is down, Kubernetes will restart your pod. But restarting won't fix the database. You'll end up in a restart loop. Liveness probes should check if your application process is healthy, not if external systems are available. Third mistake, forgetting the initial delay on slow applications. We just saw this. Your app needs time to start. Give it that time. Fourth mistake, identical liveness and readiness probes. These serve different purposes. Your readiness probe might check database connectivity because you shouldn't receive traffic if you can't reach the database, but your liveness probe should not check this because a database outage shouldn't trigger container restarts. The configuration on screen shows a well-designed probe setup. Liveness checks a simple health endpoint that verifies the process is responding. Readiness checks a more comprehensive endpoint that verifies dependencies are available. Let's talk about how major companies implement health probes in production. Netflix runs thousands of microservices on Kubernetes. Their liveness probes are intentionally simple. Can your application respond to a basic HTTP request? Their readiness probes are more sophisticated, checking circuit breaker states and downstream dependencies. Spotify uses a pattern called graceful degradation. Their readiness probes check multiple subsystems, but they don't require everything to be perfect. If the recommendation engine is slow, the service can still play music. The readiness probe reflects what the service can actually do, not a binary healthy or unhealthy state. Airbnb publishes their probe timing configurations in internal documentation because they found that teams were copying probe settings without understanding them. A configuration that works for a fast starting Go service won't work for a JVM application that needs 30 seconds to warm up. Patterns you'll see in production beyond basic probes, you'll encounter some common patterns: deep health checks versus shallow health checks. A shallow check just verifies your process is running. A deep check verifies databases, caches, and downstream services. Use shallow for liveness, deep for readiness. Startup budget patterns give aggressive timing to startup probes but conservative timing to liveness probes. This catches broken deployments quickly while avoiding false positives in steady state. Gradual readiness is used by services that need to warm up caches. They might return a ready status after basic initialization, but include a header indicating warm up percentage. Load balancers can use this to send less traffic until the cache is fully populated. The production checklist before deploying to production, ask yourself these questions. How long does your application take to start? Your startup probe or initial delay must accommodate this. What does a healthy application look like? Define this clearly before implementing probes. What should trigger a restart versus a traffic removal? Database down usually means remove traffic, not restart. Deadlock usually means restart. What are your timeout values? They should exceed your 99th percentile response time, not your average. Let's recap what we covered in this chapter. First, you learned that running containers aren't necessarily healthy containers. Kubernetes can see inside your application, so you need to tell it how to check. Without health probes, broken applications keep receiving traffic. Second, you learned the difference between liveness and readiness probes. Liveness probes restart broken containers. Readiness probes control traffic flow. They solve different problems. and most production applications need both. Remember, deadlock means restart, overload means redirect. Third, you learned that probe configuration is just as important as probe implementation. Aggressive timing causes false positives, missing initial delays cause startup failures, checking dependencies in liveness probes causes restart loops. Take time to configure your probes thoughtfully. What's coming next? In Chapter 6, we're tackling deployments and rollouts, zero downtime updates. Here's why this matters. Right now, you know how to deploy applications and keep them healthy. But what happens when you need to update your applications and keep them healthy? Push a new version, roll back a bad release. In the old days, updates meant downtime. You take the application offline, deploy the new version, and hope it worked. With Kubernetes, you can update applications while they're running with zero downtime and automatically roll back if something goes wrong. We'll implement rolling updates, blue green deployments, and canary releases. You'll learn how to control the pace of rollouts and how Kubernetes uses those health probes we just configured to decide if a new version is safe. It's going to be really practical and it builds directly on everything you learned today. Call to action. If this chapter helped you understand health probes, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're building toward a complete understanding of production Kubernetes, and each chapter connects to the next. Drop a comment below telling me about your experience with health probes. Have you been bitten by misconfigured probe timing? Have you seen self healing save your production environment at 2 in the morning? I read every comment, and your experiences help other learners. The full code from today's exercises is in the description, including the intentionally broken configurations. Practice breaking things safely. It's the best way to understand how Kubernetes responds. See you in the next one.